says I'm starting. It says maybe it's working. Seems like maybe it's working. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta turn this off. So, hello everybody. Welcome to the Tools Show. I guess I'd start with this. I don't know if you can hear me. So, if somebody could let me know in the comments if you can hear me, that'd be great. Otherwise, you know. All you gotta do is tell me yes. Tell me yes, you can hear me, and I will start. That's not a good sign. Can you hear me? Like I'm talking now. Okay, Vern can hear me. Good. Hey, Vern, how you doing? With no further ado, let's get started. I think this works. Perfect. Yay. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're going to do something a little different this week. Sage is not here, as you can tell. And that's the camera. Don't forget to look at the camera. It's hard, because I'm looking at myself on this screen over here. Yeah, my voice sounds harsh. I've been coughing all afternoon, and I have a cold, like a cough drop in my mouth. So if I choke to death or something, or if I just can't go on, please bear with me. I'm not trying to mess up. So the other fun thing that's going to be different about today is going to try and actually maybe help you guys learn something. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. But let's get started. If I can figure out how to change this. Yeah, I think that worked. Okay. Long time ago, there was a book. This book was called Google Hacks. And I think there were a few different editions of it. We had one here at the office a long time ago. I tried to find it for today's show, and I couldn't find it, but that's okay. It's a really, really old book. But this book was very eye-opening to me back when I kind of first started doing search engine optimization and kind of getting to understand how Google worked a little better. And while I'm sure it's dated, it had a lot of fun things in it. Had some Google hacks. It had some how to do searches, blah, 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 blah. And it had this nice big list of Google search operators. And what's a Google search operator? That's a great question. Well, though I couldn't find the book, I did type Google search operators over here, and the first result that comes back is a little dated, but it's actually pretty good. As you can see in the middle here, well, you might not be able to see, it's pretty small. Blow it up a little for you. We have different search operators by different types of searches. So, for example, we'll go through some of these. If you go into web search, this would just be your standard Google search, and you type in something like all in text with a little colon after it. So you would go to Google and you would type in all in text with colon, and then whatever those words were that you were looking for. So in this instance, they're like, show me results that are all in text with a travel packing list. And so that would return pages in the results that only have those words as part of the text. Now, they don't have to be in that order. They don't have to be next to each other. You're just saying, Google, show me pages that have these three words as part of the text. You can do the same sort of thing with all in title. So if you know a title of an article or something like that, and you just can't find it, you can do all in title, and then type the title in, and Google will find it for you. So it's got these kind of cool things like that. Another fun one that you can do is for an image search. Let's say you're looking for a particular image. or a particular file type. So you could do a file type, then what the type of image is that you were looking for, and then you could do a .jpeg or a .pdf, and it will actually only show you those results that are relevant to like what's in a PDF. Like maybe you're looking for a white paper or something like that. So there are all these operators, and I'll put this list in the chat box for you if you guys want to bookmark that. It's kind of can be handy from time to time. But there are other things, and if you dig around this site is actually pretty good. Goes through a lot of different things about how to use different operators, different search operators, and it's not all just on this page. You can tell on the left-hand side here, there's a huge catalog of stuff. I wanted to talk about some of the ones that I thought were actually very handy, and I use not all the time, but on a day-to-day basis, I would say I use some of these. So let's go over to Google. Hey, here we are, Google. So I guess the biggest one that I would say, and it's weird because when I first started doing search engine optimization, like my biggest misconception about searches were that everybody searched exactly like I did. I mean, why wouldn't they? Why everybody searches the same, right? And then I started doing AdWords, and I started looking at this stuff, and I started really realizing that that was totally not true. And nobody searches like me. And nobody searches like Sage, and nobody searches like you. Like, we all have our own unique style of doing that. And I guess that's part of what makes the Google algorithm so powerful, is like, because we all do things so differently, it still needs to pull up the most relevant results. Like, it needs to understand that you and I do things differently, but we're looking for the same things. So one of the main things that I don't see people do, but that you should do, is when you're looking for a phrase, let's just say you want to search email marketing. And the simplest thing to do, if you could type, is to put it in quotes. And so what that'll do is that will actually bring you an exact phrase result. And what that means is if I just typed in email marketing without quotes, then it would just show me things that had email in it, things that had marketing in it, some things that might have email marketing in it, but it wouldn't necessarily show me things that are like, I want those two words together, right? So the quotes mean that your results will give you those two words together. And you can see that when we come over here to search. And it's only in the bold things here. So you can see it brings back email marketing. And we're not looking at ads here. But like down here, it's like finding it in the content. And it's like email marketing. So it's those two words together on the page, in the title, things like that. Now let's say, okay, so the number one result we have here is constant contact. So after all the ads and everything, we see this result right here, which is Constant Contact, which is an email marketing program. It's fine. Been around a long time. What if I want to say, I want to see email marketing things that don't have that, you know? So I could come up here and I could say email marketing, but I don't want to see, so I type in a minus sign. I don't want to see constant. Just try that out. So I'm like, show me everything that's with email marketing exactly like that, minus the word constant. And we'll come down here and look, our number one result is different. Now this is probably a kind of a dumb example, but I could say, hey, you know what? I want to see Jaguar, right? But I'm not interested in the car, right? I'm not interested in a Jaguar the car. I'm looking for a Jaguar, not a car. So I can do minus car, minus cars. Oops, car. And of course, the ad's still showing up there. But now we're seeing the ad is just because of them, like that they're paying for that ad there. But now we see in the actual results, non-paid results, we're getting things about the animal. We got National Geographic, San Diego Zoo, about Panther. So this is like an easy way to kind of like start to hone your results. Like the one thing that I see happen probably the most, and especially now that people are on mobile devices, is they type their stuff in, they type in their search query, and then they just click the first result, which is fine. It's totally fine. But I've had people say, oh, I couldn't find what I was looking for on the first page. And, after the first page of results, I mean, you're never going to find what you're looking for. And to a degree, that's kind of true, because when you start going through the search results, you get 10, 15 on a page, and then, you're on to the second or third page and you're not seeing what you want. A lot of times, maybe it's not because Google's bad at figuring this out. A lot of times, maybe we could hone our search queries to be better or more useful. So I guess that's basically the theme of this today. If you guys, by the way, Bert says, wow, can we request that Sage be busy next week again? I've already learned something. No, he'll be back next week. Okay. The next one. Let's see. What's the next one I wanted to do with you guys? This is one that I use. So this one is site : Now, this can be very useful if you're working on website optimization. I would say for most search queries, this is probably not super helpful unless you were looking for a particular article from a particular website. Like maybe you wanted to see what the Atlantic had to say about, I don't know, the Trump press conference today or something like that. Then you could use this for that. So let's say I want to see every time site, we're going to do time.com. I think that's Time Magazine. And we're going to say every time they mention Trump. Okay? So what I'm telling the search engine to do now is I'm saying, look, I want results of every time Trump is mentioned on Time Magazine's website. Okay? There we go. And so you'll see the results here are all Time Magazine results. Every one of these is a Time Magazine result. So this can be helpful for that sort of thing. It can be helpful if you wanted to see, like, one thing you can do here is I could be like, let's look at sagerock.com. And I'm just going to, no queries on this one. I'm just going to say site, sagerock.com. Now what this tells me, right? So it's like, here's sagerock.com, here's sagerock.com. So all these results are going to be sagerock.com results. But what this is telling me is that I have about 1,770 pages that Google has indexed on that domain. So let's say you're working on a website and you're like, well, I don't know, is Google indexing me? Are they finding all my pages? That sort of thing. This is a really simple check that you can do. And so this is one I use fairly frequently, being as I'm in this business, but I thought I'd give you an alternative use there with trying to find terms. I could say on sagerock.com, find me how many pages mention, let's say, search engine optimization. One. What if I can't spell? I can't spell. There we go. Sorry. Or type. I can't spell or type. It's a double. So now what I'm saying is show me all the pages on sagerock.com that have to do with search engine optimization. I put that in quotes. So it's not just going to be us talking about search engines. It's not just going to be us talking about optimization. It's those three words in that order. Okay. I think you guys get that. It's not too hard. something I have actually found myself doing. I have a friend who's not supposed to eat soy, or they're supposed to limit the amount of soy in their diet, which is actually turns out not an easy thing to do. Soy's in a lot of stuff. Well, anyway, so they've been doing other things like drinking like almond milk and I don't know, like coconut water instead. Like they're trying to like change their diet around. And so one thing that I found that's kind of handy. There we go. Rice versus quinoa. There's a good one. Quinoa, the hipster grain, the grain of all hipsters. So if you go to Google and you do a thing versus something else, Google pulls from the knowledge graph. Oh, they've changed it. They've changed it. Never mind. So Google was pulling information, I swear, just last week, and maybe it's because I'm on Sage's computer and he has a weird setup, I'm not sure. But they were actually pulling this information out. So you can see here, this is kind of like their knowledge graph, thing. The first listing, it's pulling this stuff out. It's a cup of quinoa, is 220 calories, blah, 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 blah. But what they were doing before was they were actually breaking it down, and I've seen it in multiple things, but they were breaking it down, the calories, the fat, the percentage, all the nutritional value was pulled out right here on this. So this was a bummer. It was really handy before. Another one that would be maybe they've changed it. Let's go back to quinoa. Let's see if it's still here. It's not here. It's not here. Well, whatever. Forget that one then. We'll come back and we're going to do something different. So we can use define. So this is a good one. It doesn't have to be capitalized. But if we say define something, like, what should we define? What is pseudo? What's a pseudonym? There we go. It'll pull up the definition. So this is kind of interesting because a couple weeks ago, I brought the little Amazon Echo in here and we did some fun voice commands on it and stuff. I kind of showed you how it worked. Well, the Google Home device, which we had also talked about a little bit, though I didn't have it in here, it's a very similar device, but when you start now morphing, like, search is turning into vocal and search is turning into mobile. And like, we talked about the Galaxy last week. And one thing, that I found is, when it's on, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this or not. I can say this. Okay, Google, define pseudonym.
Especially one used by an author.
Do you see that? It just read pseudonym and then this exact same thing. A fictitious name, especially one used by an author. So when you start to think about voice search, pay attention to these knowledge graph things, because the knowledge graph, which it's pulling these things from other sources. So it's pulling these from like Wikipedia, it's pulling them from maybe like dictionary.com. If you did a person, it's just gathering all that data. But that's the data that's kind of like this top layer of the new kind of searches, so to speak. So kind of keep that in mind and pay attention when you see these things on a search result. And, you can do very, very similar things. Like, I said that one of the things I use like my Echo for, my Alexa, is to like set timers. Like it's really handy to set a timer like that. You just like set a timer for 3 minutes. But you can do the same thing over here Set a timer for 2 minutes. There we go. Look, I got a timer. And next to it, a stopwatch. So try and, like, when you're thinking about Google, like, we all have this I'll stop that. But we all have this kind of preconceived notion that it's about, just finding an answer for something. And while that is true, I would encourage you to now start thinking about it as like, think about it like almost like a personal assistant to a certain degree. I know it's always kind of been true, but I just don't think that we think about it in that way. Let's see. Okay, one that you guys probably all know. Well, I don't know. Some of you definitely know. I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. Let me see here. If you are at Google Images, let's just go. I want to go to Images. That's it. Images.google.com. Okay. You all know that you can come over to Google Images, type in whatever the heck you want, and it'll find a picture of it, right? Well, let me find some. I'm going to see if I can find something on Sage's desk here. Because one thing, especially in current era, and I'm never going to be able to find anything, but I'm thinking of in our current era, we got a lot of like news passed around, or a lot of like pictures just pop up out of nowhere, and you have like no real idea where they came from. Sage's computer is it's a special computer. Let me just say this. Well, this isn't okay. This isn't going to find anything, but you can take. See, what I did is I just found a picture on his computer. I have no idea what this is, but I almost guarantee that it's his custom thing. So you can take it, search by image, so you can either paste an image URL or upload an image. On my computer, I can just drag the file over here. On Sage's computer, apparently not. I don't know what this is. Oh, something. Doesn't matter. What it does is it goes out and it tries to find the picture. So it's like find other sizes of this image, all sizes, medium, large, different sizes. You can come over in your tools. You could search visually similar. If you want the particular image, but you want it in a different size, like if it's not just some picture that I just randomly picked, but it was like an actual picture or something, and you just want like a different size, like if you're going to use it for a blog post or something, you can drag the picture over to Google Images, have it search for that picture or ones that look close to that picture, and then pick a different size. So that's pretty cool. I always find that helpful, especially if you're doing blog posts and you want to just use, somebody's picture. Don't use anybody's, copyrighted picture. That's not what I'm saying, but you get the idea. Handy thing. One thing here. Let me see. A lot of times, from going out with a friend or doing something, and it's got to the point where they actually got an app from the App Store and put it on their phone for this, but you don't need to. I'm not the greatest at picking what I should do for the evening, right? Like if somebody is like, "Hey, Greg, do you want to go out to eat?" I'll be like, "Fine, let's go out to eat." And they're like, "Hey, do you want to go here or here?" And I'm like, "Either one's fine." Because most of the time, unless I have like a strong, like, I really want this, like I'm pretty easy going. And so we end up flipping coins a lot. So not everybody has coins in their pocket to flip, but most of us have cell phones, and most of our cell phones have internet, and Google's more than happy to flip a coin. Heads. Heads it is. I don't know who called that, but that's more like a little gimmicky thing, I guess. Um, mm, mm. I know one that I was forgetting. Let me see here. Hold on. This is actually a pretty handy one here. I'll just have to see. This is all the last one I had written down, but we'll see here. So if you put a query in quotes and you put an asterisk in the middle of something, you could put it wherever you want. Like you can't remember a certain word. Like, so let's say you heard like a song lyric or something, which coincidentally this is, and you're just like, you can't quite remember it right. You know, was it, I don't know, did I get that word wrong? Did I hear that word wrong? You can put an asterisk in there, and that acts like a wild card. And so Google will go out and say, okay, find me everything that says, imagine all the blank living for today. It will leave out the blank, but it will go and find you that song. Well, in this case, it's a song, but it will find out whatever it is that you're missing. Like wherever your black hole is in your query, like I can't remember, did they phrase it like this? You can use an asterisk, and it will go out and find it for you. The asterisk in this case, in case you missed it, is people. Imagine all the people living for today. John Lennon, beautiful song. Rest in peace. Is there anything else? Oh, I got an Easter egg for you. This will be it then, because I'm running out of time. Imagine that. I can't believe it. Easter egg over YouTube. You go to YouTube. You type in this horrible thing. Do the Harlem Shake. You remember that from a few years ago? You hit enter. Yeah, you remember this. Uh-huh. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's fun. It messes up your screen. There's all kinds of those. I could do a whole episode on one of those. You get the point. My advice to you would be to go through here on this thing. I shared the link in the comments. And do a little bit of reading, do a little bit of experimenting, and I think you're going to find that with a few quick little things that you can easily pick up and work into your daily Googling, you are going to get much better results, way faster, and you will have a more pleasant and useful experience on the Google. And so that's all I came to talk about. That's it. Thank you very much. Hope you guys picked up something, and thanks for coming. Sage will be back next week, and we will be on with our regularly scheduled program. I just realized something. I don't. Thanks, Vern. Thank you. I don't know how to turn this off. That's embarrassing. I really don't know how to turn this off. I'm just gonna see what happens if I push this.